Hi, I'm Christy Simoni, Chief Marketing Officer of Whiteboard Marketing. And for today's Whiteboard Marketing Corner, we're going to be talking about how to develop your practice marketing plan. Recently, we took a group of Seattle Study Club dentists through a 1-hour strategic marketing planning session. They worked through this workbook as we discussed strategies and opportunities with them. You should have received this workbook in your email, so if you don't have it in front of you, I urge you to press pause, download it, and have it in front of you as we walk through some of these slides. This is really a highlight of that planning session, so you know what to do to develop your own planning program. Let's get started. When we take a client through strategic marketing planning, we really ask 3 key questions. We really start with the end in mind. Where do you want to go? Where are you now? And how will you get there? So I'm going to urge you to ask those 3 questions of your practice as you're going through this process. These slides right here really are pieces and parts of this workbook. So we're just giving you the highlights, and there's a lot more inside of here. The first question, where do you want to go? That's really where you're identifying your practice goals. Do you want to generate additional revenue for your practice? Or do you want to increase your recall patients? Or if you're a specialist, are you trying to drive additional referrals from general dentists to your practice? Really identifying what your priorities are, 1, 2, 3, or more, will really help understand what you're trying to do with your messaging and your marketing strategy overall. Typically, the number 1 priority for most of our general dentists is to increase new patients, and for our specialists, it's to increase new patients and build referrals. Understand your practice. So one of the things that we'll ask you to do in the workbook is to list your key services. What are the services that you are generating the most revenue for? Are those the services that you want to be generating the most revenue for? Ask those types of questions. These are the services that you'll want to promote on your website, through your social media channel, on your Google My Business page. So that's really how you're going to utilize that, this specific section of the workbook. Then we're going to ask you to identify who are your patients. Knowing who your patients are really helps you understand what messages you should be speaking to them and what channels you should be focusing on. What percentage are females to male? What's their age range? Do they have families with children? What's their average household income? Where do they live? What community are they living in? Typically, we find that for general dentists, patients typically drive between 3 and 5 mile radius. For specialists, it's a little bit farther because it's not as frequent of a visit. So really understand who, kind of a little bit more about who your patients are. One of the big questions to ask also is who makes the decisions in the household? Typically, it's the female. Where are your patients physically coming from, essentially? Are they coming from patient referrals or staff referrals, for example? Have they read your patient reviews or Google online search? Is it Google pay-per-click advertising, or could it be a drive-by sign? Inside the workbook, we have a lot of different options than just this, so make sure you look through all of it. This is really important. For one example, if you find that a lot of your patients are female and they are between the ages of, let's say, 25, 28, and maybe 65, and you're in a really kind of a suburban type of a community, you're really going to want to focus your marketing strategy on Facebook because that's where that demographic group really lives on a daily basis. Then the next question that we ask is, where are you now? This is where you're going to identify your current realities. What is working? What's not? What's holding you back? So one of the things we're going to ask you to do is take some time to really audit your marketing program. Go to our website, whiteboard-mktg.com. We have a whole list of resources. I'm going to urge you to download this practice marketing audit worksheet. It's a little lengthy, but it will really give you a great feel for what is working in your practice currently and what things you may need to do and incorporate into your overall marketing strategy. Also ask some questions. Is your marketing budget effective? Do you have the designated marketing person or partner that's actually helping you with your marketing strategy? What things are preventing you from being successful? Or maybe you have a great marketing strategy and you don't have anything holding you back. The next step is question 3. How will you get there? This is where you're really going to plan all the great marketing strategies that you're incorporating into your overall program. Inside this workbook, again, it's a pretty extensive list, so you'll want to go through it. And then you're going to want to check yes or no. Are you incorporating that into your marketing strategy? What resources are needed? And who is going to implement it? Do you have someone in your practice? Do you have a third-party marketing partner who's going to do it for you? We've added this slide into the planning process. We have really seen, especially over the last year, the importance of immediacy, meaning if you're spending the money to drive your patients to your website or to increase your phone calls to the practice, you also want to have some immediate conversion opportunities. Today's society is immediate. People don't want to have to wait once they make a decision. So we are going to encourage you to add website chat. Consider online scheduling. A lot of your practice management systems have online scheduling already built in, so reach out to them and find out if that's a feature that you might want to start investing in. We see tremendous conversions in online scheduling. Online patient forms. Once a patient has scheduled, give them the opportunity to submit those forms online as well as pay their bill online. So while these may not necessarily seem like marketing initiatives, they are, because once you add these things, those are great messages to promote throughout your entire marketing strategy: social, Google My Business, email blasts. One of the questions that we get asked quite frequently is, how much money should I be spending on my marketing strategy? The industry average is about 3 to 6% of your revenue. So how does that break down into what your strategy may look like? This slide really gives you a pretty good schematic of what that is, from 6% all the way down to 2 to 3%. As you'll see, everything is pretty consistent from website all the way down to email marketing. The change, the increase in percentage, really has to do with how much money you're spending on your Google pay-per-click advertising and your social pay-per-click advertising. The last part of the marketing strategy development is tracking your marketing. If you're investing the money in bringing new patients to the door, make sure you know what your investment is going towards. These are some different opportunities that you can have to consider tracking your marketing. So again, go through these and decide which ones you're going to use and how frequently you're going to be looking at it. Some of them are dynamic call tracking. That's where we lay a phone number over top of your existing phone number so that every phone call that comes in can be tracked. Phone call recording. Listen to your phone calls and really get an understanding of what your patients are asking, what great things your front desk staff may be doing to convert that patient, and what opportunities may be lost. For example, when we combine dynamic call tracking and phone call recording, we can see that about 30% of our client phone calls are typically missed, either because someone didn't pick up the phone or the answering machine is on, or just different things like that. It really gives you an idea of how you can change your marketing up by that. Add Google Analytics to the back end of your website. Take a look at your Google My Business insights and your social media insights. We do have a great webinar on Google My Business, so I recommend that you listen to that one as well. And that's it for today's Whiteboard Marketing Corner on how to build your practice marketing strategy. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us, and thank you so much for letting us be a Seattle Study Club partner.